Okay. I need to get my screwdriver just right to get that unscrewed. You see this, the screw is coming out. Okay, it's going to get to a point where you should be able to pull it out. I would save that screw because somebody might want that. Okay, if you don't want to use it, sell it as Steampunk. Steampunk supplies. Okay, now surprise, surprise, you should be able to pull out the crown at this point. And you can see why that there's no way this movement will come out unless you took that out first. Okay, now you have the crown out. You have the bow is still attached. That's great. Those are very hard. Those are hard to replace. I'm not going to cover that. Now, in order to get the movement completely out, there's some more steps we have to do. Okay? This is the point where we got to figure out how it's attached. This movement is attached to the watch. Okay? And I can see down here, I don't know if you can see, there's a screw that's kind of like half part of it's missing. This is holding the movement in place. But even if I unscrew that, the movement will not come out of the watch. Why? See, this hinge is in the way. The movement has to be pushed through the front. This is where you have to take the front off. The movement has to be pushed through the front to get it out of this case. Okay? It can't come back because you see the movement, it goes down into the case. So the front will allow you access to be able to remove it completely. Okay? So here's where we pry the front open. Just like the back, it has a small lip on the front. Nice glass, great looking glass. This is still usable. Okay? Look at that face of that nice porcelain. So be sure and be careful that you will also see on this watch there is a pin here. Because this is a pin right here. You can see it, you can depress it. This may also prevent the watch from swinging out. But more than likely at this point, I should be able to, on the back, turn this screw back here, and this should swing right out. Okay? As many times as I've done this, this should happen. If that screwdriver is not big enough or sturdy enough, you can see it's a bigger screw hole, then I may need a different screwdriver to actually get that to turn. And sometimes I've had problems with getting these to turn. I don't know why. You just don't know. I don't like to use anything to loosen them, but when I do have something that just won't move, I just keep working at it until I can get it moving. They're just, a lot of these watches are 100 years old, and a lot of them haven't been serviced in many, many years. Pocket watch people watchmakers are just no longer around anymore. Modern watches are too cheap, and they're too reliable. Okay, and old watches are just now collector's item. So I just keep messing with my screwdriver until I find one. Oh, did you see that move? Once I got that to a certain spot, you saw it where it just unhinged, and you see me gently pushing it to the front. There's that pin. Okay, now you have a great movement. You can sell this movement. There's lots of people who would love to have this movement. If you have no use for it, I would sell it just like it is. Look at those beautiful watch hands. They have a very ornate. Be very careful, these break extremely easy. Okay, this is a porcelain dial, which means if you do anything to try to pry that off, it will crack and break. Okay, I don't at this point mess with porcelain dials. I would sell this movement just like it is because it's too pretty like it is. A watchmaker would love to have this. It has more value as a movement as it is because it's still in great shape. You have to do a lot of work to be able to get that dial off properly without cracking or breaking it. At this point, I would sell this movement just like it is, okay? Because I think it has more value to a watchmaker at this point than me. Now, up to you whether you want to use this crown again. Because if you stick it back in the watch, Stick it back in the watch and you'll see you have this annoying thing. Well, it does kind of complete the look of the watch, but unless you can hide that in some way, you know, during your design, sometimes I've just left them off, okay? Be aware that it still works great, but you do have a hole there, okay? So now I have a nice empty watch case with a beautiful glass cover, which I can fill. Now what do I put in there, okay? What I like to have done many times in the past, and I still do occasionally, I have moved on to doing other things, I have put gemstones. This is a couple of heart-shaped checkerboard topaz modern gemstones, and then I've filled in around with some tiger eye, and let's see, what is that? Is that a carnelian? I think that could be amber. I would have to test it to be sure. I'm a GIA student, which means I'm in the process of finishing up my gemology degree. And so I would need to test that to make sure exactly what that stone is. Okay? And I have all the equipment to do that. And I might show, I plan on doing a future video on gemstone testing. This is a nice watch case. Only thing wrong with this one is that it has a steel bow, which is not very attractive. It's very sturdy, very well put in. It's going to last a long time. It's just not very pretty. It's a sterling case with applied gold fill on the front. It will have that pinkish tinge. That's applied gold. It's known as gold fill over sterling. It's a beautiful case. I think in order to sell this with gemstones inside, I would have to replace that bow. And sterling bows are extremely hard to find. I think a gold-filled bow, a nice rosy gold-filled bow, if I can find the right one, would look really nice with this. I probably won't go back with sterling because I have a hard time finding sterling bows for a nice watch like this. Okay? Now this one, the only reason I would even do anything with this one rather than sell it to watchmakers, because it has a big old scratch on the side. That's the only thing really cosmetically wrong with this one, which is why I wouldn't preserve this for a watchmaker. But you can see that movement inside. That porcelain dial is in beautiful condition, and those hands are. So that's what a watchmaker is looking for the movement. Okay, the case isn't worth a lot of money. It is sterling, but the movement and the dial and all that would be more important for somebody. It's the same as the other watch. This is just a smaller version. You would loosen that screw, remove the crown. Now that the front is open, you loosen that small screw right there. Let me point to it with a screwdriver. You loosen this one, you turn it, and it should flip right out. Okay. It'll have a pin right there, okay? That's easy. These older antique watches are easier to take apart. I would stay away from anything that's Art Deco or younger because they're just, the cases are very skinny and very hard to take apart. Those are the ones I've had where I've had to just abandon the project and had to resell the case because I couldn't get it apart, okay? So that is it for now. Just a quick lesson on how to take apart pocket watches and some general tips. Let me know if you have any questions. This is Celeste from the Day Old Toy Store on eBay and Etsy. Bye.